Hi, I'm Jen. I paint abstract portraits, and today I'm painting Esther. Esther? Hi.
Hi.
Whenever you're ready, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, well, I'm Esther, and I guess at the moment I'm technically unemployed, but I'm doing all kinds of other things in my spare time. So one of the things that I do is I am a Reiki practitioner. So whether or not you believe in Reiki, I've already infused this with Reiki. I am a hobby baker. I am actually a published author because I published my book. It's on Amazon KDP. It is called Patiently ... Impatiently because I'm very patient. Impatiently. That's the title. My dream is to be a public speaker one day.
Ooh.
To be a paid public speaker and just kind of like talk to people and be able to share that love that I shared with Jenny over the phone with other people in person. And I can tell you more about that, how that dream got started.
That's so much amazing stuff.
And if you don't watch any further than this, let me tell you the one thing that I always say to people is, which we're so lucky that everything always works out for us, even when it comes to being 3:33 on the clock, and Jenny saying that I have so much to talk about and that I am so glad that you exist, and I am proud of you, and I love you. I am so glad you exist. I am proud of you. I love you. I hope you never ever forget that somebody smiled today because of you. Because you are enough. You always have been, and you always will be. Period. I do want you to watch more, but just in case.
And you also just filmed a pilot, didn't you?
I was going to tell you about that. I was going to film the pilot.
Yeah.
The pilot did not end up happening.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it did not. I think though the reason it didn't end up happening is because it's not the right timing yet. And so if anything I've learned is, a couple things is, one, I plan, God laughs.
Yes.
And two, I need to learn the lesson better of I don't chase, I attract. So when the time comes for me to host that show, they'll come to me and ask me and not me having to chase down. The concept of the show is, I think, what it was originally was going to be barefoot in the kitchen because I have shoes on now, but I don't cook with shoes on.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna be like, hey, and I'm not a fancy chef. I don't have fancy knives or whatever. I do have great ideas for cookware and stuff to make everyone's life a little bit easier because that's what I'm about. But then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, that's nice. But I think the better thing is that there's a lot of kids that grew up and they're latchkey kids. And I think there's more, and those latchkey kids are now becoming adults. And those latchkey kids and adults don't know how to cook. Right? And everyone says, oh yeah, we don't know how to cook. But I was like, well, what if we could make it really easy so that if kids can do it, make a show that a cooking show so that if kids can do it, so can you.
Yeah.
Maybe a paring knife. Because when they put kids in the kitchen, they put them with really simple things.
Right.
So cut up vegetables in the food. If you're gonna cut up onions, we'll put them in the food processor. Or they have those they have this thing you can put Julien's vegetables for you, and you just turn the handle.
Oh my gosh, those look amazing.
Those look so great, and so I'm like, okay, well if I could just do the vegetables that way, and then now you can make grilled cheese sandwiches in the toaster with these special bags. And I'm like, oh, you can make sandwiches like that. So people are like, I can't cook. And I'm like, you can't. I'm like, well, if these kids can, so can you. So that's the, because everything I told you about is I'm like, really, I don't want to be in the kitchen. Nobody does, except for chefs. And good for them, hooray. But that's not what I want to do. I don't want to, all my recipes that involve cooking really are me being in the kitchen as little as possible. Roasting vegetables in the oven. I'm like, oh, how do you roast your vegetables in the oven? I'm like, I bring them home, I wrap them in foil, I line the tray, I wrap them. I don't even wash them. It's 425, kills everything. And I just leave everything in the oven. And leave it overnight because it's not chicken. You're not going to die if the vegetables stay in there overnight.
That's true.
If you buy cooked beets at the store, they're $5 a piece.
Right.
But if you do it my way, you can buy 5 beets and roast them at home yourself.
Right.
And you'll eat a lot more beets because it costs you $5 instead of $25. So, and my way is line the tray an hour before you go to sleep. Put them wrap them all in foil. Don't wash them. Little dirt never hurt anybody. and then just put them in the oven. Turn the timer on for an hour, and turn the oven on for an hour, like 425, 450, up to you. 425, let's just say. And then beets, maybe like 450 because they're bigger. So 450, an hour, and when the hour is over, walk over, turn off the oven, turn off the timer, and you can go to sleep. You go and you can peel 5 beets in like a minute. And then you just throw everything away. No dishes. Except that I'm thinking about doing parchment paper instead of foil.
Yeah.
Only because I don't know how I feel about foil touching my food all night. But that's not a big deal. But the parchment paper is fine too, you know? And so, and I've seen some parchment paper on Amazon that has these really cool imprints on it, and you could like imprint your vegetable.
Oh, neat.
3 is my magic number.
Okay.
So, like when I give Reiki to my friends, I notice that, or to people, I noticed when I give Reiki 3 times, that 3 is the magic number, and it does something, and it unlocks something in them.
Like the 3rd time they get Reiki?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's especially powerful if we do it 3 days in a row.
Ah.
So if we do it 3 days in a row and they get 3 sessions, then it does something. One of my friends, I gave him Reiki. He lives in DC, and I gave him Reiki over Snapchat video.
Yes.
And
technology.
He fell off the ladder and like broke his wrist and like tore a ligament.
Oh my.
And I gave him Reiki 3 days in a row, and after the 3rd day, his hand didn't hurt anymore.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, it helps with like pain management. Then he went and got surgery on that Monday,
Okay.
and then I had to give him Reiki again because now he got a new pain.
Sure.
But he said after the 3rd day of Reiki, like he didn't have pain from
That's
the surgery.
amazing.
So he doesn't have to take like the meds and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the doctor's office like a few weeks later, and he sees this lady, and he's like doing this like with his wrist and stuff.
Wow.
And some lady that was there had the same surgery like a few weeks earlier, and she couldn't even like go like this. I call Reiki magnified prayer.
Okay.
I also call it emotional surgery.
Okay.
And I call it magnified prayer because when I pray, like we get on video chat. Well, I guess so. We'll get on top. The first session is always at least 2 hours. Everybody comes to me with 100 pounds of baggage. Okay. And in that first session, we're gonna talk because like it's like therapy, but without like me being like a therapist, life coach. I'm just a person that people enjoy talking to. First,
Obviously.
people like talking to me and they tell me their problems, and I'm like, okay, and I just listen, and I don't hold space for them to just be whatever it is that they need to say, and no judgment. And if they need a solution, then I'll come up with a solution for them.
Okay.
But if they don't, then I just listen.
Okay.
And that's what people need, is someone to listen.
Right.
The reason we talk first is because you still came to me with 100 pounds of baggage, and talking to me. Well, first of all, if I give Reiki to someone, they don't know me, and I don't know them.
Okay.
And
So like we already know each other too much?
no,
Okay.
because everything is different. But like most time when people come to me, they don't know who I am. They're like, okay. So like I have found for like, especially for me, is I can go to someone and be like, let's say you were a Reiki practitioner. I'd be like, hey, can you give me Reiki? And you're like, yeah, sure. You're like advertising something. You're like, I'm going to do Reiki. I'm like, all right, cool. And so I'll come to you and say Reiki. But I'm like, in the end of it, I'm like, I still don't really like know you.
Yeah.
And like, I'm letting you into my personal space.
Sure.
Because Reiki is allowing people in your personal space. For that reason, when I give Reiki to people, I want people to know who I am.
Okay.
And they want to feel comfortable with them.
Sure.
And also like, if I asked you a favor and some person off the street asked you the same favor, you're more likely to help me with it.
Sure.
And do a better job with it than the stranger off the street.
Sure.
So for me, like when I do Reiki for people, like I want to build that personal connection.
Okay.
And for me, I think that's super helpful, and it's helpful for them.
Yeah.
Because then they can like, oh, I feel comfortable putting my baggage down. It's not just a transactional thing. So they come to me and they had 100 pounds of baggage, and we're going to put down 20.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So now it's only 80 pounds, which
Yeah.
is still a lot. So when I do the Reiki, because it's 3 sessions, now we're going to get rid of like 50 pounds. Like
Okay.
50 pounds of baggage.
Sure.
And then, when you like do a bunch of construction and excavation, there's a whole bunch of shit that like flies in the air.
Yeah.
It like settles back down. So if I take off 50 from 80, that's 30. Well, the next day when you come back, I take off the extra, another 20.
Yeah.
And then the last day, because we've done so much work already, we take off the other 10. And people end up leaving and they're like, I feel so light.
Yeah.
And like, but it's easier because now you've built that connection with me and you feel safe.
Yeah.
So when it comes to giving Reiki to people, before I give them Reiki, I'll ask them, Jennifer Beckham, is it okay if I give you Reiki? And you'll say, yeah, it's fine. And then I ask you, but I ask 3 times.
Okay.
Because in my mind, and for my inner child, the first time she hears it, the second time she listens, and the third time she really understands.
Okay.
And so when I ask you, it's like, hey, like my favorite thing and my inner child's favorite thing is ice cream. So it's like, hey, Esther, do you want to go get ice cream? I'm like, yes. Esther, do you want to go get ice cream? Yes. And then the third time, Esther, do you really want to go get ice cream? I'm like, yes, give me the ice cream. So it's kind of like enthusiastic consent. And at the end, I call him back. Because I call him back, I'm like, Benny, come back. Yeah. And I was like calling his name, I'm like, Alex. And I was sitting there for a few minutes waiting. And he finally came back and he opened his eyes and he was like, what happened?
Wow.
And I was like, you like disappeared, or I don't know where you went, but like you weren't here and now you're back.
He was cruising.
And he said that he's had many Reiki sessions before and he's never disappeared.
Oh, wow.
But I think it's because I made him feel comfortable.
Yeah, he felt safe.
You feel like when people feel safe, they're like, oh, I can like go to sleep or take a nap or whatever it is. And so that's what I think is different from the way that I give Reiki versus the way that other people give Reiki. And there's no wrong way, of course. And everyone has their own style.
Okay.
But that to me is like my style. And then I just follow up with the people. And that's what I say is that everybody is good at something.
That's right.
But most time, the good thing that everyone is good at, they forget that they're good at because they're just so used to it. Because they're just like, yeah, I do it. Like, I flip pancakes with one hand. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
We live in Texas. Who doesn't eat tacos?
You'd be surprised. And since you do eat tacos, do you have a favorite place to get tacos?
So when I lived in Houston, and I used to get tacos from Taqueria del Sol. Okay. And there's another taqueria called La Bala.
Okay.
And they have tacos, and they have a location near my parents. They have a second location near my parents' house in Katy. Okay. And I went there, and I love nopales tacos, which are like cactus tacos, and it's like $4.44, which tells you that the angel's around. And I went there and I said, I'd like nopales tacos, please. And she goes, regular or spicy? And I was like, be still my heart. Like, you just asked me, like, I was like, I've never been asked this question before.
When you are feeling blue, what is something you do to help yourself feel better?
I go get ice cream.
Okay.
Oh, because I used to be lactose intolerant too before I moved away.
And now you're not?
I'm not.
Wow, amazing!
That was in Massachusetts, in Norwood, and it was called Stash's Pizza, and I found that place. A slice of chicken bacon ranch is probably half the size of this pillow. It's humongous. But I would eat that sometimes, and I would just be like, all right, and I'd walk in, and they'd just, they're like, pizza today? And I was like, yeah, and they're just put it in the oven. And that's all I would eat. And they're like, what do you eat? And I'm like, chicken bacon ranch. They're like, that's all? I'm like, it's a complete meal. It is a carb. It is dairy. It's got chicken and bacon. It's got protein. It's got tomatoes on there, so it's a vegetable.
Okay, so it's done.
Good?
Yeah. Are you ready to see it?
Yeah. And it looks very colorful from like
when I dropped it.
I think that's so cool.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Well, you're beautiful.
Oh,
obviously.
thank you.
Yeah.
That's so pretty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah.